So I often use it, show it with my hands, that here we are just living, drowned in experiences and feelings and thoughts, and the mind goes on and on and on, from morning to evening, in time and space. It rolling on and on and on. And then one day, for some reason, there comes some kind of stillness into you. It can come in many ways. You see something beautiful, or you come to Satsang, or you sit with your beloved or your grandchildren, or something that stops this noise, ongoing. And then suddenly there comes something in here that doesn't change. And most of people don't even notice it in the beginning. There comes something that doesn't change, that is unchangeable, and there all the time. And immediately when that happens, then you go into your thinking, what was that? Oh, how interesting, and what is it? And wow, it felt so good, and it must be enlightenment, it must be the Buddha nature. But then you are here again, in the drama of thinking and understanding, and then you start getting the point, actually it happens when I was still. I had to be still, not forcing it, but just naturally be still. And then it comes again, and then you say, but it's always been there. Why haven't I noticed it? It's a presence that doesn't change. And when you just touch it, it's very fulfilling. And many of you will feel it into the body also, like the body relaxing, like you're suddenly really relaxing. And if you come very deep into it, you will relax that you have never done. I don't remember having done. Like every cell in your body is relaxing. That is the natural state. So now we just go on exploring it a little bit. And again you go into your thinking, oh, it must be what the Buddhists call bodhicitta, yeah, or oh, it's the Atman Brahman. So all these words, but they're also okay. It's just that they take you away. Because you have not fully understood that to really fall totally into this place that you have never got and never can lose, you had to be still. And even though people who have touched it many times, this conditioning, this thinking, this drama in the mind is so deep and so, for 40 years, it's very difficult to stop, and you don't want to come out of power. When you start becoming still, it may assert itself even more. Hey, it's me, And of course the me is here, the ego me. It's made of thoughts also, and memories. So, that is the drama. Again, you touch this place here. Now there are so many words for this place. If you know Ramana Maharshi, he will call it the Atman, which is the true you. And he will say one thing is to know the Atman. The me here knows this Atman. Another thing is to be it. So that's how, for most of you, you will just know it. We call it an awakening, more or less strong. And slowly, slowly you will start being there. Then you come into your clarity really. You come back home. So, this drama here, many people are not even aware of this silent space in them. And I can also, from my experience, that if we have totally lost connection with this, we go crazy. We may not really be in touch consciously with it, but it's always there, more or less deep in us. From my point of view, there's just a degree of difference between so-called normal people and crazy people. Because the crazy people is totally lost in thinking. But what we call normal people still have a feeling of there's something that remains the same in me. I'm the same that's sitting here tonight that got up this morning, that you will say yes to. I am the same, of course. But if I start asking you what that is, then you go in here. But you feel this, don't you? I am the same. But don't talk about it, because it cannot really be talked about, but you can sense it. And if it totally disappears, and you're totally in here drama, then you are a victim of every little thought, totally identified. So when we talk about a normal consciousness and when we get really crazy, there's not much difference. So come really in and be this place here. Okay. So for some reason, this drama here, rolling, and suddenly there's just a break. And you feel this. Oh, wow. It must be enlightenment. Blah, 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 blah. Then you stop it, and it comes gently, gently again. And it's like it starts permeating you. You feel, but my God, when I'm there, the world opens. And this me, this space, it's the only thing that really is. All this I'm experiencing is impermanent. Now you start seeing life for what it is. That all our experiences and all, they are not really what they seem to be. When you start coming home, they will still be there as long as you have a body, but you'll start seeing through it. And you will feel this kind that we sometimes call oneness. But it's myself, everything. It's all imagination. And it's not philosophy, you will know it. And you will not be able to argue about it and convince anybody about it, but you, like me, you will of course try to share it, or if people will listen. Because that's the natural state. You had to understand that we live in such a collective hypnosis in society that we're totally cut off to what really is true. So few people stop up and realize the truth, who they are. And when they realize who they are, they will know that they are a pure consciousness. And that is the only thing that truly is. And this is this pure consciousness that is here tonight talking and listening. The same reality that is listening there, talking here. There it takes form of this body-mind, here it takes form of this body-mind. And one day you will go on seeing, good Lord, now it takes form of this, now it takes form of that. And it goes on effortlessly. That's what we call creation. And then stop and relax and be still. And then you will start sensing this. And the deeper you can sense it, the more open everything will be and transparent. And you will also know that you are not the body. It's also part of this open space. And you will suddenly realize, but I have never gone anywhere. Even though I walked up the stairs half an hour ago, the real me didn't walk anywhere. And it will never go anywhere. So play a little bit with it next time you sit in the flight or you're going somewhere. Close your eyes and consider, yeah, experiences are moving, but I'm not. Because how else would you know that experiences are moving if there was not something in you that doesn't? But very few people are interested in that doesn't move. It's a little boring and there's no color and in the beginning. And oh yeah. And then you go into the movement and you open your eyes, but there's a lot of colors and sounds, and slowly, You're longing to know the truth, because of course you know it deep down. You have never forgotten it, really. But you're looking in experiences for it, and it's not in the experiences. It is when you're just still for a moment. And that is not easy. It takes a lot of trust to just have half a second of stillness. It takes a lot of trust. Because I'm bored, nothing's happening. It's meaningless. It takes a lot. So as you know, we are sitting in meditations for years. Vipassana retreats, watching the breath. Maybe just to have one glimpse of stillness. And then it's good to know, that's what they talk about. Okay. And they tell me to be it. They tell me not to think about it. They tell me to be it. To remain here without trying to understand it with the intellect. Your intellect cannot understand it. For me, many years ago when I started just doing meditation, sitting in Vipassana, I already realized that this love that I'm always looking for is already in me. But I was already, like everybody else, looking for love outside, going on parties every Saturday, but then I happened to start meditating. It just happened out of the blue. I met a TM teacher when I was 24 years old, and he said, "You should learn to meditate." Me? Meditate? Yeah, you should. He was on the college where I also was. And I liked him, so I said, okay, let's try it. So I showed up with a flower and fruit and a towel on this transcendental meditation, and sat down and repeated this mantra, and that really, something started happening for the first time. Then I went on, sat in long meditation retreats, and experienced this moment of, but I am what I'm looking for, more or less. Watching the breath is a doing. Repeating a mantra is a doing. It's this whirl here. But it, and suddenly this here comes. But it has to break through so many illusions. It's more and more you begin to live here and stay here. And you will be all the time challenged from here, in your relationships, in the world, whatever. And also if you have anything stored in you, in your psyche, that you have not really looked at. If you have dust on the shelf, as I call it, it will kind of come up, and again you will be identified. You will start fighting with it and try to get rid of it. And until you see, but how can I get rid of something that doesn't really exist? Then you stop up and you feel it without labeling it and just relax into it. And then you come here. More and more and more. So this is very much the journey. It's so different from every person, how it will happen, but it happened in a moment of stillness. I have told the story many times, but I tell it again because some of you are new. I was with Papaji in Lucknow, Punjaji, way back, just like Muji and many of us has been. And I remember one time he was with a woman that said, "I have so much fear, Papaji, what to do with it?" And he asked her the classical question, where is it arising from? Where is it coming from? Because everything comes from the same source here. So she said, where is it coming from? Where is it arising from? What is the source of it? It's a very good inquiry. And she could do it. So she started becoming quiet. And Papaji said, don't move, don't move. Because if she moves, what is that? It's this. Don't move, don't move. And suddenly she got it. It's never born and it doesn't die. And you will know it when you touch it, because it's beyond time and space. That's why I wanted to play the Kali mantra for you. Because Kali represents that time stopper, that grace and consciousness that stops it for a moment. It's a shift in your perspective. Instead of seeing the world from the ego mind, from separation, from me and the body, here my body is and here his body is, and I go out from here, that is the ego, that is the duality, that's the ignorance. Suddenly, you see everything from the perspective of consciousness. And it's like you cannot separate yourself from anything. It's all yourself, but not in a personal way, but in a very intimate, very sweet. You cry. You simply cry here because it's overwhelming. And if you don't cry here, it's intellectual. It's most likely intellectual. It must come from here and here into the heart. Can you think in your heart? Can you produce any thinking in your heart? No. You're intimate here with everything. There's no thoughts. But then you move up and hear all the thoughts. So to wake up is to come into the heart, in the nature of the heart. And then you will say, but it's always been so, how could I avoid it for so many years? How could I not see it? And I've been looking for it in all my attempts to be happy, because I know what happiness is. I know, but I can't really find it. Yeah, I find this man, I find that woman, I get that job, but still I'm not really happy. I'm not still. And you all know it, so I know I'm not trying to teach you anything. I try to get you to remember something, to recognize something you already know. And my business is that I use situation and words that can maybe trigger you. That's Satsang. Satsang is sharing the truth and pointing at it. And that can go on in many different ways. I think the first glimpse I had really of this here, I'm an old sannyasin way back. I came to Pune in '79 first time. And I did a vipassana those days, 10 days. And we started 5 o'clock in the morning. We slept the same place where we were meditating. We just fell back in the evening and slept and sat up again. Underneath us, they had a primal group. Those who have been in Pune, they know this. And we were sitting upstairs, watching the breath. And I went through such a hell. I killed all my school teachers, and it was a great help with the primal group underneath. And when I came out of this Vipassana group, there came such a stillness. I was out of this. And there was a moment of clarity. I didn't know what it was, I was just happy and fulfilled for a moment. just very short. Because I had not started the next step. I was just out of this drama. And next time it happened was, I had been giving an enlightenment intensive together with another guy in Osho Risk in Denmark, and we were sitting upstairs after all this blah, who am I? No, none of us knew it. Who am I? I didn't know it, and my assistant didn't know it either, but we had a great time anyway for 4 days. Who am I? And after this, we was relaxing again with a cup of tea upstairs in Osho Risk. Finally, we got through it. Everybody was relaxing, being still. And I turned around and saw Osho in the garden on the video. And in that moment it happened again. Because I was still again. I looked at him and I just knew that I am everything, essentially. That there's nothing separate from me, my real me. And it disappeared, and I said to my girlfriend, it was so fantastic, I experienced something marvelous. And she said, don't think you're somebody special. Finished. I forgot all about it. And then it came again in Rishikesh. I just tell you, no, some of you have heard it many times, but it's so important so you can recognize and relate to me and just see, where are you? It's my story, but you will also have a story that you can maybe somewhere see also in the light of my story. And next time it came, it was in Rishikesh. I've been doing Gayatri. I did Gayatri every morning. And I was sitting and drinking coffee and just being here now. Then it opened by itself, and it never really left me. Just like the floor disappeared underneath me. And there was a shift, and I suddenly saw, I didn't see the mountains outside me, also not inside me. I just saw them. They were not inside or outside. And I cried a lot, overwhelmed. And then I spent a lot of time slowly settling here. Because this went on and on and on. So I walked a lot. And I found out that if I'm really in the body, really, and coming into the body and experiencing and relaxing into the body, I come in here. So it really became a strong way of coming home here all the time, and again and again. And my present wife, she came up that morning when it happened and was screaming at me for some reason. Why didn't you tell me this or something? And I said, don't you see me? That's all I said to her, don't you see me? Because I could not react to it. I just looked at her because I was in bliss. I said, don't you see me? And she went on and on and on, So it's very much the story how it went. And I was a therapist and has been for many years also in Pune. And then of course it changed my way of working, and that's why I call my work non-dual therapy. Because I try to get people further than the therapeutic process.